Hello, my Zentangle friends. This is Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher. And I just want to take a minute to say Happy New Year and welcome to 2022. I always like to start with a gratitude, and I am very grateful that my whole family has made it through 2020 and 2021. We did end up with 3 of us getting COVID on Christmas Day, but everyone's doing fine. It's not me. I'm very grateful that even though I was exposed, I have not had any kind of symptoms. I hope that 2022 is abundant and healthy and happy and creative for all of us. Be safe and be well through this whole year. And so let's get started. I hope you enjoy what I've picked for you today. Again, welcome to Not Perfect Zen. I'm Barbara Langston, CZT, Certified Zentangle Teacher, and I'm grateful for a new year and time to be with you and teach you again. And we're going to do something a little different. There are so many groups out there that have prompts to give you an idea of what to do each day of the month. And I'm going to start today by following something that came from 7 Forests, 5 Rivers. They also are known as 7F 5R. In Facebook and on Instagram, and they have what's called a fragment of your imagination for January. So they have 31 prompts that are made up of fragments, and fragments and reticula are something that we learn in the Zentangle primer, which if you don't have it, it is an excellent reference for anything you want to know about Zentangle. The fragment for today is well, and well is a named pattern in Zentangle, but it's also a fragment, which means that if you had a grid, each one of these could go into those grids. Okay, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about fragment or reticula because I want to get right into this. I think it's going to take me a little bit of time, but I think you'll enjoy it. And I'm going to use a Marcus operandus. I'm going to work on a tan Zendala. You can use any piece of paper that you would like. If you want, you could cut your own circle. A Zendala is about 4.5 inches wide, and you will need a Marcus operandus, and I'll give you a link to that. And I just have a variety here of pens that I'm possibly going to use. You could use a PN, an 01. I do want to use something of a different color. So I have a brown, and I might be using a jelly roll pen and probably an eraser, my graphite pencil, and a ruler, and of course blending stumps, etc. So what I want to do is I'll show you quickly my test page. And these are what we're going to do is a variety of those patterns. But what I want to show you is how to get a hexagon in the center of your Zendala. So we're going to line it up in the middle of the Marcus operandus. And where you see the little diamonds sticking out here, now not numbered, but these, okay? Well, I guess some of them are numbered. Okay, making sure I've got this right. Okay. I've only done this once, and that's what you saw. So that diamond, the ones here on this edge. Okay, again, we're not going where the numbers are, but where these little diamonds are here. Okay, so now we should have, when we move this out of the way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 marks. I am going to take my ruler, and again, I'm hoping that this doesn't take a huge amount of time, but I think you'll enjoy it. I like working on hexagons, especially with a triangle pattern, and well can be done in a square or in a triangle. Actually, it can be done in almost any shape. That doesn't look right. Okay, let me check this again. Okay, so I marked here, and then I somehow got that second one in the wrong place. So there we go. So these lines should go across and meet in the middle. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one so that I can get down to a centimeter. So what I want to do here is I'm going to mark a centimeter down on each of these. I just found that that gave me the best hexagon. If you have a hexagon template, you could also use that. Okay, that was a little bit sloppy. And do it lightly. Okay, so I have those marks. Now I'm going to use that to connect those. Again, doing it lightly. I could zoom in a little bit, I guess. And we're just creating a hexagon shape. And that hexagon will contain 6 triangles. And we're going to put a well in each one of those triangles. And so that becomes our grid, or as they have in the primer, they call it reticula. Reticula is just, like I say, like a grid to hold your patterns. Okay, so there. That is our hexagon that we are going to use for drawing 6 different ways to do well. Okay, and we'll come back and erase the extra lines and stuff, but I actually am going to start with the micron PN, and I'm going to go over these lines now. Some people like to pull the pen towards them. Sometimes I feel like I do that better and sometimes not. But for this, I'm going to just go straight across. And then I'm going to go from the center. You could just go one straight line all the way across, but I feel like I do better if I'll just do it short. Sorry, my lamp is rattling. Okay, and I'm going to leave these lines out here for now. I am not going to put anything on the outside, but you might want to use this as a string to put something else in your reticula or in the border. I'm sorry, something else in your border. Okay, I want to start by showing you the basic pattern for well, and we're going to just, of course, pick any one of these, and I'm trying to get as close to center as I can, and we're going to put an orb, and then we're going to put another orb inside of that. And then with well, you can make a curve coming this way, or you could do it either way, you know, whatever feels best for you. I'm comfortable coming off of this. We're going to do kind of like they say, takeoff. We're going to do kind of an arc and come down to that corner. And we're going to do that 3 times. We're going to come around, make a nice little arc, go to the center, turn it, and do that one more time. Now, the next thing we're going to do is come from that, and I want to have this be about the same kind of arc that I have here. I'm going to come around and then curve and meet here. And it's making kind of a petal. Mine are never perfect, so please don't worry about trying to make it look perfect. They never look the same as far as how it looks when Rick does it. He does his so nicely. If you look at Project Pack 12, Day 3, he teaches how to do this. And then the next thing we're going to do is come down just a little bit and retrace that line just barely, and then bring it around and touch it there. Okay, we're going to do that 3 times. Come down a little bit, come off of it, and touch it there. This is just a variation that Rick does. I think it's very pretty. And then bring it to there. Okay, so that basically is well, either with or without this second little line. And the next thing I'm going to do is just very lightly, I'm going to put some lines back here, and I'm not pushing down hard. Zoom in a little bit more. Okay, I'm not pushing down hard. I'm just lightly putting a background. And I'm still using my PN. Okay, I'm going to turn and do the same thing here. You can lift your pen a little bit, kind of looks like little sparkles. Or you could do just straight lines. This is just how I've decided to do it for this one. Go down to the middle, turn, and now we're going to do the last side. I don't want this really dark because I don't want it to take away too much from the main pattern. Okay, So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start again in the center. And I just try to kind of eyeball, here's the center of that one, the center from there, and just hope to get it right. And it's not centered, and it's okay. Again, we're going to take off from the top of this, make a curve, come down. Do the same thing on this side. And you can see that my curves do not all look the same. Doesn't matter. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take this line, we're going to do an aura, okay, that's going to come around, and I'm going to switch because I want a finer line. I'm just going to switch to my Micron 01. You can stick with whatever is best for you, but I just want a thinner line. So I'm going to go from there, kind of aura, but I'm going to aim for this point each time. Come out a little bit, make a curve, aim for that corner again. And Rick and Maria, I have heard them call this both a anchored aura or a tethered aura. And that's what we're doing. So we're just going to keep bringing these lines down. I'm trying to make them about the same distance apart, but if it's not, it doesn't matter. Okay, we're going to turn. And again, we're starting in the center. And we're going to make our curve, aim for the very center. And then just keep adding. Oops, okay. I think I wasn't pushing very well on my pen. Okay, turn. And we're going to do that again on this last one. You can do these same basic patterns in a square. Okay, I have one here. It's in a square. The next one we're going to do is we're going to go in the center again. And this one, I really want to try to get it centered. I think that's probably good. All right. And here we go again. We're going to make our curve go down. Take off, make our curve, and land. Take off, make our curve, and land. Okay, and now I'm going to kind of echo that. Let's see. only done this once. So I'm trying to make sure I show you what's right. Okay. So I'm going to start here and make another tethered aura like I did and bring it down to the center. I'm going to do that 3 times. Bring it down to the center. And this is a variation of one that Rick did in one of the recent project packs. Okay, so now that we have this here, what we're going to do is I want to pretend that this line has gone up like that. If that makes sense. Okay, I'm going to bring this one down and have it meet here. Turn as if this one were coming back up like that. And it's going to meet there. And then one more time. It's going to curve and meet here. And now what I want to do is as if this one were coming around, meeting, and going to the center. Same thing here. As if it meets, goes under. I'm going to go ahead and fill this in like that. And then our last one. Again, here's our curve. It's going to come around, goes under, and meets on that side. Okay, so again, that started the same way that the other well patterns did, but it ended like that. Okay, and I know I'm going a little bit fast, but we do have shading and all that to do also. I wish I could get this more in the middle. Every time I try, it's just not quite what I like. Maybe there's a template out there for it. Okay, so there's another one, and I'm going to put a dot in the center of this one. And again, we're going to start the same with our aura. I'm sorry, take off and land, turn. I don't want this one to be really fat, so I'm not putting a huge curve in it. And then bring it around again and go down. Okay, and now again we're going to bring our petal down to meet. Down and let it meet at the center. Down and let it meet at the center. And then the next thing we're going to do is just put a couple of auras here at the side. 1, 2. We're doing that on each side. 1, 2. Okay, so we have that basic pattern again, but now we're putting an aura on each side of this petal shape. I'm going to do it again. 1, 2, and then on this side, making it the middle. 1, 2. Repeat, rinse and repeat. 1, 2, and then on this side, 1, 2. Okay. The next thing I want to do, and I saw this, someone did something similar on, I don't know, I think in the Mosaic app is where I saw this. I'm putting an orb in between here, and then I'm going to fill this space in. And if this is going a little fast for you, of course, you can pause it. You can back it up. I've really never tried a Facebook Live or Instagram Live, mostly because I like to be able to edit out any problems. Maybe someday I'll try it. I'll get brave enough. If your orb isn't quite right, this is your chance to make it a little bit more round, but it doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to make this one about the same size as those, and you can see this makes it pretty obvious that my center point was not quite in the center. I know there's an Etsy shop online that has all kinds of cool templates that you can use, but we're not looking for perfection, are we? We are not perfect. We're just looking for the Zen. Okay. And then I am going to put a dot in the center, and then I'm going to bring a line up and kind of make it a little bit bigger when it gets close to that dot. Same thing here. Just add a little bit of weight at the end of that line when it comes down, just for something different. And same thing on each side here. Just kind of flare it out a little bit at the end. Okay. And one more time. All right. Wow. So we already have 4. Okay. This time we're going to do another basic pattern. Okay. I was getting confused here. Let's put our center orb, and we're going to start the same with our takeoff and land at the center, going to the points, and then what we're going to do next is this time we're going to start from this point. Okay, sorry. We're going to start from this point in the center. We're going to do similar to this one, but it's going to be starting here. And what I like to do is kind of aim for halfway through, which would be about there, and put my little curve. And now I'm going to cut it in half again and then divide it in half again. One more time here. That way I get my spacing a little bit better. Start here again. I'm going to aim for that. So here's one, divide it in half. There's two, divide that in half, bring us about right there. Okay, next thing I want to do is just add a little bit of weight at the end of each of these lines. Doesn't need much. If you wanted to, you could even make this into a scallop type, where it's almost looks like a petal when you're finished. This is kind of like pepper. Okay, so let's do that again from this point. Aiming for the center. And aim for about halfway. Halfway again. And halfway again. Go to this other side, aim for about halfway. Halfway again. And one more time. Turn. And add our weight. You can do it as you add the line. That might be better for you. Okay. And then same thing in this one. So we are going to, again, go about halfway. Divide that in half. Divide that one. This one. Now divide this section. This one. And this one. And then I'm going to turn it and add my weighting. Okay, and the next thing I'm going to do is I got my PN again, and we're kind of losing these lines. I'm going to redefine the first lines that we put. Just make those a little bit darker. Okay, so there's our fifth pattern. And the next one I'm going to do is going to start out, of course, the same as the others. And I'm guessing about right there. So if this were the center, that would be about there. I'm just trying to look. Okay, close enough. Let's try it. How's that? Does that look like the center? Now we're going to do our lines down to each corner. All right. Down to each corner. And now I want to add an aura. And I was in a class yesterday where they said this could be called an aura or an echo line. So however you want to call it. But we're staying on the inside of this little section that we just made. Okay? And we're going to do that 3 times. I had actually meant to do this in a different color, but I didn't do it, and that's okay. I also saw this variation done on the Mosaic app. There is a free version of that application for your phone, both iPhone and Android. And I highly recommend it because you can do a search for these patterns, and I get a lot of ideas by seeing what other people have done. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we have a triangle, and guess what we're going to put in that triangle? Well, okay, so let's find about the center. Let's add our little orb. And here we go again, down to that point. Down to this one. And down to there. So let's do that in each one of these. This one seems to be a little bit bigger, which always confuses me since I keep thinking, since this is an equal side triangle, like on here, all these sides should be the same, but they're not. I am not a mathematician, did not do good in geometry, so I'm just going to keep going. All right, here's our last one. I'm going to add our lines down to the corners. And then one more time. And now I'm going to go back up to this one, and I'm going to add auras, starting here. And then I'm just going to keep adding these little curves. Should be a little bit of curve. Mine usually end up being mostly straight towards the end. So I try to keep a curve on there. Okay. Turn. And we're always starting in the center. And we're going to come around and down. These are not all meeting at the same point, so they are not tethered or anchored. They don't all meet at the same point. Okay. My lines are not perfectly spaced, and that's okay. All right, so here we are again, starting at the center. Keeping these about the same space. All right, so we're going to turn and do the same thing on this one. The nice thing about fragments is they can be squeezed into any part of a tile. If you have the Zentangle primer, some people call it primer, there are fragments that are in the shapes of triangles. The reticula is a triangle. There are fragments that are in circles, and there are fragments that are in squares. And so this was a fun idea from 7F5R group. They are out of Singapore. I can honestly say the one nice thing that has come out of the pandemic is that I have made friends with people all over the world through Zoom and on Facebook and Instagram, and that's just really awesome. So there we have it. We have 6 ways that you can do well. And now we're going to start adding some shading. I had some different colored pens out here, but things change as I go along as usual. I'm going to start with this one. And where these lines meet, where there's a lot of them across here, I'm going to put a little bit of shading. And then a little bit where they meet down here at the bottom. I'm going to turn and do the same thing here. A little bit down in this corner. A little bit in that corner. Now I'm going to get my blending stuff. And we're just going to soften that. I'm going to push it in that direction a little bit. Same thing here. Soften it down in that corner. And it's always good to start out light, and then you might find that it's good to add a little bit more. Soften that, pull it down towards the center. Again, down in this corner. I'm going to add a little bit more down in here. And then soften it. And then I'm going to come back with my Micron PN, and I'm going to redefine that line. Sometimes when you put graphite over your lines, it tends to mute them a little bit. So I just want to enhance that line. Okay. For this one, I'm going to add just a little bit of graphite in each of these sections. Kind of like giving it color. I did a tile yesterday that was for word of the year, and it had a lot of coloring on it. Coloring is not my favorite thing to do. I like to color a whole sheet of paper, but I don't like to color in a lot of little details. But this is a way to just add kind of a different color to what you're doing by only using your graphite pencil. Okay. Now I'm going to put, since we have kind of a hollow ball effect, meaning that this one is going over that one and under this one, we're going to put a little bit of shading where these go under the other, what would you call that, a boomerang? Sort of looks like to me. So just a little bit of shading there. Okay. For this one, actually, I'm also going to add a little bit of hatching. So just putting it down in that corner and pulling it toward you, just to make those tips a little bit darker. And kind of evens this out a little bit better for me. Again, in anything that I do, you have the option to do it or not. This is your tile. All right. Okay. This one, I am going to add shading in this one. On each side of that center petal. And again, I'm filling it in, kind of like giving it a new color like we did here. And we're going to soften it. You could add striping and fill that whole thing in. Play around, that's what I was doing. Look at what someone else has done and say, hey, what if I did this? Or what if I did that? I'm going to make that center dot a little bit more even there. And on these orbs, I am going to put like a little C. Of graphite, little C shape. Okay. And then I'm going to come back with my graphite or my blending stump and just very softly blend that. I don't want to take it all the way around. Let's zoom in on this last one, sorry. Maybe you could see that better. So I just have like a little C, and then I'm taking my blending stump and I'm just softly touching just that one side. I'm not bringing it all the way around. And that leaves you with almost a gemstone effect. All right, to the next one. For these, where these lines meet, I'm going to add shading on each side. Just a very thin line. Again, where these meet. And then where these do. Same thing here. Always turning your tile to keep you comfortable. All right, so we're just continuing to add shading down the sides here. Where all these lines are meeting that original line. And there, okay. Now we're going to get the blending stump and start softening that. I don't want to pull it into the center, I just want to soften it. So I'm trying to be easy. I have a blending stump that's still fairly sharp. I try not to squash them down like I used to in the beginning. And that happens when you put it straight up and down. This should be kind of at a almost flat angle towards your paper. All right. Okay, and then this one, I'm going to add some shading here in the center. And then a little bit here on the edges. And where I can, I'm not going to put my graphite over where I have my pin mark, where I have that white, just so I don't lighten those. Okay. All Now we're going to soften it, pull it down toward the center. And it's always more noticeable what I'm doing on the screen, but what we're trying to avoid is a harsh line. So I'm just softly blending that again if I need to. Okay. And then same thing here in the center. We're going to pull it towards the middle, but we're not trying to cover up all of this area. We want to leave some of this open with the original color, whether you're on a white tile or a gray tile or any other color, because I have made multiple colors of tiles. Okay. Look, so there's that one. And now this one. We are going to add some shading here. So this is as if this petal is kind of folded over a little bit, this part. So we're just going to add some shadow just below that a little bit on each of these petals. And just come up a little bit. And then on the outside, we're going to put a little bit of graphite on the outside of each petal. And we're going to start blending that. For my word of the day tile, I don't have it in this room, but I posted it on Facebook and Instagram. My word that I've mentioned before is joy. And when I find something that I have enjoyed working on, that's when I want to share it with you. And I really enjoyed working on this fragment. I enjoy looking on the Mosaic app to see what other people have done. And then I try to vary it a little bit. Doesn't always happen, but I do try. All right, let's. And maybe you noticed I got a clean piece of paper down here to work on. Okay, I do have my white charcoal since I am on this tile, and I'm just going to put a little bit of white in various places just to add a little bit of highlight. And you can use your blending stump or just kind of brush things off with your pencil. I mean, with your finger, sorry. That's what Maria said she did in the beginning. They did not have tortillons. And then I think Molly or Martha found out about them and suggested. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit there. and then soften it. It looks a lot brighter on the screen than it does on my actual paper, so I'm trying to go light so it doesn't look like it's overwhelming it. Okay. And I do have a tortillon that's marked for white, and that's what I'm using when I'm using my white chalk pencil. There's that one. Let's move on to this one. I have not planned what to do on this. I'm just thinking about it as we go along and wondering how would it be if I put white on that section. And if you think about others who have done beautiful Zentangle work, I think most of them started out kind of experimenting. Just try it, you'll like it. Cool. So I put a little bit of white where the highlight would have been on those orbs. And then a little on the outside of this petal. Soften it. Okay. I'm going to put some right at the center of these. That's the nice thing about these Renaissance tiles is how well you can add the white highlights. And again, this looks a whole lot brighter on the screen than it does on my paper. Okay, one more to go. Cool. That was fun. I enjoyed doing that. I'm going to come back and erase the lines that I have here. And I think I'm going to come out a little bit like Maria does, a little bit away from the original hexagon, and just softly aura. I don't want a harsh line. I do hope that 2022 is a better year for all of us. Okay, so now I'm coming back with my blending stump that I used for my black. And we're just going to soften that and pull it towards this outside edge. And just keep blending that out. I don't want to push it in that way. I just want to keep coming out towards the outside. All right, now I'm going to try something I haven't done before, and I'm not sure how it's going to look, but let's see. Let's put some white in here. See how that does. Just for fun. And then just very lightly soften that to even it out. There we go. That didn't come out exactly as I planned, but I don't always plan things exactly. Here's one of the tiles that I did in a square. And this one, I just did an aura. And again, this was similar to something that somebody else had shown. So I aura'd the first lines and then just added some shading. And then this is similar to that one, but this is one that is close to what Rick taught in Project Pack 12, Day 3. And then those are similar to what I was just showing you, but in a square. And here was my practice on the other side. This one is like that one, okay? Except that I aura'd those first lines and filled them in with the brown. So lots of things that you can do with well as a fragment. And again, that was 7F 5R group in Facebook, and they are doing this fragment of your imagination. I am going to add my chalk down here. Where shall I put it? Right here. I really hope that you've enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any questions. And I will try to remember to add links to everything that I've mentioned, including the Marcus Operandus, if you need one of those. Thank you so much for joining me in 2022. Hard to believe that it's here. And we've been in this pandemic for 2 years almost. Let's hope we're seeing the light at the end of the tunnel and that we'll be out of it soon. I thank you guys for your support. I'm very grateful for your comments. I'm so thankful that I have so many people that are watching my channel. And if you have questions, suggestions, comments, just let me know in the comments below the video. If you've enjoyed this, please hit the like button and subscribe. And if you're so inclined, I would love support through coffee.com, and that is in the comments. You can find the link for that. And I just recently found out from one of my followers that you can set that up for a monthly donation. Oh my God. I've got one person doing that now, and I am just so incredibly grateful for any amount of help that I get. So thanks again. Happy New Year. Have a good, safe, awesome, wonderful 2022. Thank you. I will see you next time. Bye.